Now I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Lucas Pointer and the Finance Committee.
You bet. Thank you, Madam Chair. Hey, we're glad you're here, and we'll go ahead and jump into the Finance Committee. We have four action items on the agenda. The distribution of mineral lease funds begins on page 1 of your agenda book. And Mr. Nick Fuller, go for it.
Good morning, everyone. This is a yearly item that we present to you in April for the distribution of mineral lease revenues. This is done through a section of our Appropriation Act or special language that allows, after the first 13 million of mineral lease revenues are collected from the state into the Higher Ed Building Maintenance Fund, that any additional revenues collected past that point in time are transferred to a research development fund, be granted out each year. That $13 million threshold was hit in 2007. So we've been awarding this grant every year since 2007, and it has gone to the Arkansas Educational Optical Network each year. This year they are requesting, and we are recommending that up to $475,000 be allocated for that purpose. As you can see, since 2007, $13.4 million has been distributed from this fund. The current balance in the fund for this year is $255,858. We do recommend approval of this distribution.
Are there any questions? Any questions? All right. Do I hear a motion to recommend to the full board approval of this action item number 1, the distribution of mineral lease funds from somebody on the Finance Committee?
Motion.
Thank you, Heather. Second on the agenda is item number 2, economic feasibility for University of Arkansas at Fayetteville. That's on page 2 and 1 of the agenda book. Mr. Fuller.
Thank you. This is going to be a bond issue for the University of Arkansas Fayetteville. It is for $34.175 million, the term of up to 30 years, the rate of approximately 5.5%. It's going to be for educational general purposes funded through tuition and fee revenues. The proceeds are going to be used for the renovation, construction, furnishing of the Hyper building. Also the acquisition of property on the Fayetteville campus and construction improvement for various equipment and other properties on that campus. Any questions on the bond issue? Representatives from the campus are available. I believe they're on Zoom, but they are available to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Fuller. Any questions? Any questions from the audience?
Is that 5.5%? Is that a fixed rate over 30 years?
It will depend on what the final rate is they get from the bank or once they go out for the bond issue, but that's the approximate rate they expect to get. And then yearly we come back to you and report on what the actual rates are each of them get on any of these issues that we approve. I believe it's either in the October or January meeting, so we present that to you.
And then I saw that this is coming from, since say tuition and fee revenue.
Yes.
Are they going to be raising tuition and fee revenue to cover this, or is it going to stay the same?
I do not believe if they do raise tuition, it would be to cover this item, but I can't tell you that they're not going to be raising tuition fee revenue in the future. The feasibility of the issue was based off of current revenue projections, not off of the increased cost. And that is the same for the other two as well. They're based off of current revenue projections.
Okay.
Any other questions? All right, this is action item number 2. Do I hear a motion from someone on finance to recommend to the full board approval of the economic feasibility for University of Arkansas Fayetteville?
Motion to recommend.
Kevin. All right. Action item number 3. This is the economic feasibility for University of Arkansas Community College at Morrilton. It's on pages 3-1 of the agenda book. Mr. Fuller.
This bond issue is going to be for $12 million, term up to 32 years at an estimated rate of approximately 5.5%. It's also for educational general purposes, also funded from tuition and fee revenues. The purpose for this bond issue is the acquisition and construction of a nursing science center and to allow for additional capital improvements and infrastructure on the Morrilton campus. And representatives are available if you have any questions.
Any questions?
Is there anyone here that can respond to that? I have one question. The operational margin that you had for 22, 23 was a little bit negative. Can you give us an idea of what your operational margin might be for 23, 24? I know that's a couple of months away, but can you give us an idea of where we are in regards to this bond issue?
I think so, yes, sir. For the record, my name is Lisa Willenberg, the Chancellor at UA Community College, Morrilton. And I have with me today my CFO, Jeff Bolin, and he will be able to answer that question
Okay,
for you.
good.
Yes, sir. So to kind of give just some prior context to that, when we received a lot of the HERF funds from the federal government through the CARES Act and stuff like that, we were able to add about 3.8 million to our unrestricted net position through that. So we've kind of been dipping into that over the last few years, just as we've been, benefiting our campus, trying to take care of our employees and, make sure our departments are funded with supplies they need. We are tracking about even this year. We actually turned in our quarterly report last week, so I was able to kind of run the current numbers and stuff like that. As long as everything kind of stays on track during the summer, we expect it to be just about even within is about $50,000 down. So in the whole scheme of things, that's where we need to be, but we're still up 2.9 million of that 3.8 that we gained in 21.
My concern was that we weren't laying a burden on students for tuition increases and things like that. And I understand, and I guess your fund balance is looking good. It has been good in the past.
Yes, sir.
It still is.
Yes, sir. That was our first thing we looked at when we decided to take on this project was, what's it going to look like for our students?
Yeah. Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? All right. Hearing none, this is action item number 3. Do I hear a motion to recommend to the full board approval of the economic feasibility University of Arkansas Community College at Morrilton?
A motion to recommend.
Thank you, Heather. Thank you. Thank you. All right, moving on. Action item number 4, economic feasibility for Arkansas Tech. The economic feasibility for Arkansas Tech begins on page 4.1 of the agenda book. Mr. Fuller.
And I will make mention before we start on this, in the outset, there were 2 items, 4 and 5 for Arkansas Tech for feasibilities. There were actually one feasibility that we were unaware of twice, we combined in this one. So there was no need for the 5th item on the agenda. This is going to be for a bond issue of $10.4 million for the term of 15 years at a rate not to go above 7%. It's also another educational and general project funded from tuition and fee revenues. It's going to be for the renovation of an educational building, elevator replacement, and HVAC infrastructure on 10 of the buildings on the Russellville campus. There are representatives from the institution available if you have questions.
Any questions? Comments? All right, do I hear a motion to recommend to the full board approval of the economic feasibility for Arkansas Tech University?
A motion to recommend.
Heather, that's all we have on the finance committee. Are there any questions or comments to be made before we adjourn? Thank you, Nick. All right, do I hear a motion to adjourn? Madam Chair.